tackling software, accelerating the pace of engineering and science. Learn more at mathworks.com.
This is 90.9 WBUR. I'm Sharon Brody. This is Disability Pride Month, marking the 34th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The ADA is a civil rights law for people with disabilities. 21-year-old Jonathan Gardner is a person who has autism. He lives in East Bridgewater, and he's a cancer survivor. In 2021, he was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, but Jonathan says getting a doctor's diagnosis was difficult.
I experienced a lot of diagnostic overshadowing trying to get my diagnosis. Diagnostic overshadowing, for example, is when someone like me who happens to have autism goes to the doctor and my actual health concerns were overlooked because they saw the word autism in my chart.
Can you give me a specific example of how you were treated?
So, for one example, I was treated is when a doctor dismissed my leg pain as being psychological, suggesting to my mom, not me, the patient, to see a psychiatrist instead of investigating the pain I was experiencing. That made me feel crazy, frustrated, and not respected or cared for.
What did you do about that sort of treatment that you were getting?
Well, with my mom's support, I continued to advocate for myself and finally found a doctor who listened to my concerns and looked me straight in the eyes and told me she did not know what was wrong with me, but was going to find out. And, well, she just did that.
Why do you think that this doctor took you seriously?
Well, she was able to look at me beyond my diagnosis and treat me as a human being. She validated my pain and believed in me. Honestly, started my mom and I building trust with her and with doctors in general, to be honest.
Well, how are you working to change attitudes and break some of these stereotypical impressions?
Well, I do this with my role as an official ambassador for Operation House Call. Operation House Call reaches all the medical schools in Massachusetts. Our main goal is to build confidence and willingness in medical students by sharing our stories and lived experiences to treat individuals gives access to the quality care they deserve.
What happens when you speak with medical students? How did they respond?
When I usually speak with medical students, they often respond with curiosity and empathy. They ask questions about my experience. I had navigating the healthcare system. They asked how they can improve their interactions with patients who happen to have disabilities and how support decision making, which is an alternative to guardianship, which can be incorporated into their medical practice to support people to make their own decisions and have control over their own lives.
Jonathan, when I introduced you, I said, Jonathan Gardner is a person who has autism. How do you identify yourself in that regard?
Well, for me personally, I say I happen to have autism because autism does not define me. It's just a single piece of who I am.
Why does this language distinction matter?
For me personally, I don't want to be put into a box. I just want to be treated as, well, normal. I'm a guy that likes many things. Like, I like video games, I like anime, I like pro wrestling, I love my family, I love my friends. I'm basically just a human being. And the reason why I say mostly with the happen to autism thing is because, well, there's a lot of people just don't see it that way. Sometimes people see it as, you have autism, that is your identity. I don't. I personally just see it as a part of me, like, well, a leg or an arm and so much more. Well, we're all similar. We're all human beings at the end of the day.
Jonathan Gardner, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me today.